Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. And again, Frank Barton, good friend from Barton Power Sports, is in with us this morning. Not here in studio as we stay quarantined, but as our co-host. And, Frank, I know that we were just talking. It seemed like yesterday that you were on here, but always glad to have – and our next guest knows Frank. Frank's been in here when we normally do the inflatable life jackets, and it's a lot of fun. And we all feel like Ed, Gwen, and Mary Poppins. You know, we're all floating to the ceiling with all of our life jackets on. And I know it's you can remember that, right, Frank? It didn't mean too.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. It was fun. So Betsy Woods is with us again. She's on here every month now as a monthly guest, it seems like. But she is the TWRA, that's the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency Boating Education Coordinator. Good morning, Betsy.
Good morning. How are you?
And what starts today, Betsy?
National Safe Boating Week.
National Safe Boating Week. Yes.
Actually, it's a North American because Canada's involved.
Oh, well, they ought to be involved. Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So I know that we do this because really this is we're coming up on, as Frank mentioned. He was asking me what's important dates coming up, and I said Father's Day, and he said no, we got Memorial Day, and I said no, my birthday next Saturday. So. But it starts today, goes through next Friday, and it's really a gear up, as Frank mentioned, for Memorial Day, right? I mean, is Memorial. Which one's the Memorial Day, 4th of July?
It is Memorial Day. Yes.
And Labor Day. That's our three big weekends, right?
Right. Memorial Day usually kind of
Kicks
sets
it off.
the boating season. However, the COVID-19 has set it off earlier.
Yes, that's what Frank's saying that about it, ATVs and things like that, too. People are wanting to get outdoors. Frank, you ought to be in the boating business right now for at least a couple of weeks, and then we can have this. But Betsy has been in this position for how long, Betsy?
20 years.
20 years, okay.
Yes.
And people have asked, we're not going to announce the new director of the TWRA today, but we will hopefully have that new person on. Most of you probably know, and I'm not going to say it, but if you hadn't read it, still news. But the TWRA met yesterday, and we'll have that new director on next week's show if all possible. But Betsy has been with this position, which was created by the man who retires on May 31st. Is that right?
That is correct.
Ed Carter will be stepping down on May 31st. And so is this position, boating-wise, now you sent me some, we've had, and Frank, I meant to check on Arkansas too because I know that's what you're thinking about, but 26 boating accidents, 10 fatalities. Now, it's really made the news this year in our end of the state because of what happened earlier with the two young men and their coach in the fishing tournament on Pickwick near the dam. And then, of course, that was so tragic. And then we come back and we lose a person at Reelfoot not wearing a life jacket. And so that's 3 right here in our area. And if people think that Reelfoot is a shallow lake, yes, but I have been petrified many times going across Reelfoot, not just because of the stumps, as most of us know, because that 6 foot of water can look like Lake Michigan sometimes. So let's talk about the numbers that you posted there. Are we, I hate to say ahead, are we past what we were in 2019, Betsy?
Yeah, 2019 was kind of an anomaly, I think. We only had 8 fatalities, and we have not had a year with that few fatalities since 1965.
That's total, 8 fatalities total.
Correct. Now, it had to have been all the education, right?
Yeah, it had to be education. Well, I think a lot of it is education on the water too, besides the education. But we have 10 now, and we're just into May. So
correct. And yes, so and the lakes are busy. I mean, they're as busy as on holiday weekends now, even before holidays, just because of the pandemic.
It sent people out, right? Yeah, Frank.
It has, yes.
Yeah, Frank was talking about that with ATVs, and I'm not sure. And you could probably. How many registered boaters do we have? Close. What do you think?
About around 250,000.
250,000.
Right. And that's not counting non-motorized boats like kayaks and canoes and stand-up paddleboards.
So we could fill Neyland Stadium several times.
I think so.
With boaters, with that many. That's just a scary. I know you don't want any fatalities. Have the 10? What's been the life jacket situation on the 10 fatalities that we've had?
Well, the Pickwick Dam one, they were wearing their life jackets.
Yeah,
but I don't think it would have mattered.
No,
it was just
no, they got
so
caught.
Tragic.
Yeah, they got caught.
And the 3, 4, 5, 6 of them were not wearing their life jackets.
6 were not wearing the life jacket.
Correct.
And as you pointed out, every time y'all have come down here, the life jacket is not. And we talked to Frank about the evolution of the ATV from the 3-wheel Big Red that I first had. Well, the evolution of the life jacket, was they give me the cushion or give me that orange thing and throw it around my neck. Now the life jacket is not only comfortable to wear, but they've made it so convenient to do things. And yesterday was a special day, right? Normally we would do, what is that thing we call that? Wear your life jacket or whatever it was? Is that
Wear your life jacket to work day was yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
People post their pictures and send them in. And the Safe Boating Council actually gave prizes away for the best pictures to be sent in.
Huh. I didn't know anybody was working.
Fun.
So, I mean, they're all working out of their house and everything, so to speak. So, so when you go,
and you talk about.
Go ahead.
You talk about the inflatable life jackets. We have had one fatality this year, and the fellow was wearing a automatic inflatable life jacket, and it malfunctioned and didn't work. And he was not a swimmer, and he never went out without his life jacket on.
And it didn't work.
So
that's scary.
That's still under investigation. And so life jackets, these inflatables are great, but they do require inspections, regular inspections, and maintenance to make sure if it's a screwing in mechanism, make sure it's screwed in all the way. If it's you need to make sure whatever that auto inflation mechanism is, make sure it's in good shape and will work like it's supposed to.
I think, Frank, when somebody comes in and buys an Indian motorcycle from you or whatever it might be, they need to know little skills before they're taken out the next day, don't they?
I do my best.
Right. Yeah.
But I always want them to be safe. That I give them. I talk to them about that, but I really talk to them about safely operating it.
And that's the same way with boating. I mean, you can buy a new boat today, but you're not required. There is safe boating. We have, we did. I'm not sure what the status is now of the safe boating classes. Online, you can still do them, right, Betsy? I mean, they're still.
Yeah, well, Tennessee by law requires proctored exams, so it's a little tough right now because most of our public libraries are doing the testing for us.
Yes,
and they're not open, and we're trying to. Like I said, it's by law we have to. So we're doing the best we can, and we can't tell anybody to go out and break the law because we certainly don't want you to. But our officers are very aware of the situation and sensitive to it. And as long as you make an effort to try, to study while you can and be prepared to take it as soon as we open up for business.
Yeah.
There are a few that are getting being able to take it, but it's mainly the ones that have to have it for a job that we're making arrangements for.
And I'm sure that, if I remember correctly, the officers, the law enforcement officers, all of those Memorial Day weekend, that's big for them. They'll be there. I mean, I know these guys will be on the water looking for safe boating, whatever it might be, any kind of infractions or overloaded, and counting the life jackets and what it might be. But I like the press release I got from my good friend Lee Wilmot that you had quoted in here, that life jackets, they are called life-saving devices because they really can save lives. And, you know, I can remember, Frank, when I was started here, I can't tell you how many days I spent close to your home grounds over at Wapanaka, and they would always have a cushion in there for us, you know. And I said, later on, I said, well, the water's not very deep. You know, hypothermia, things on that, Betsy, it doesn't take long, right?
It does not. Oh, yes.
And so,
and they say cold water is anything below 70 degrees.
And below 70 degrees, yeah. Well, I've been with Frank when the water was a lot colder than 70 degrees. I know that for a fact. All right, so folks, they can go to tnwildlife.org, right, Betsy, and find
Correct.
out all the information about boating registrations, folks. We want a safe Memorial Weekend. We want a safe year. Betsy knows that 10 is already 2 more than all of last year. So let's be safe out there. Betsy, thank you. Wish you were here. I
did too.
We would be
happy
with our jacket.
Happy birthday early.
Oh, thank you, Betsy. Yeah, I'll be 20, 40 again.
More or less.
More or less. Mostly more. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Betsy. All right, let's take a break.
Thank you. Everybody have fun. Be safe.
Thank you, Frank. Let's take a break. Be right back, okay?
Sounds good with me.
All right.